pushing for relief. Louisville residents rebuilding after the Marshall Fire, asking the city to help spare them thousands in rebuilding fees.
None of us should have to pay an extra tax.
Why they believe the city should waive a tax tied to rebuilding.
Once a pit stop, now a destination.
You can park your car and spend all day enjoying yourself.
Idaho Springs enjoying growth thanks to a surge in visitors, but with growth comes pains.
I think there's mixed sentiment about it, honestly.
Tonight we're going 360 on this booming Colorado community.
Tonight, Louisville residents pushing the city to help save them thousands as they rebuild their homes lost to the Marshall Fire.
What they want to change is the city's use tax on building materials. But first, what is a use tax?
For starters, the use tax is similar to sales tax, but instead it's paid right to the city as part of the building permit fee process.
People rebuilding their homes are asking the city to waive that use tax, arguing that they never planned to build until the fire changed everything.
Denver 7 CB Cotton traveled to Louisville, where people took their concerns right to city leaders.
Every single house was destroyed, including mine.
Tanya Somaru's home may have been destroyed, but her spirit wasn't.
I don't have time to get depressed.
And she doesn't have time to dwell on her losses because Tuesday night, she and others gathered at Louisville's city council meeting to fight for their future.
We are the people who live here. We are the community. We want to go back to our neighborhoods.
But Somaru says many fire victims won't be able to rebuild their homes in Louisville because they can't afford it.
We are part of the fabric of this town.
On Saturday, she and others demonstrated in front of Louisville City Hall, calling for the city's use tax associated with rebuilding to be waived, or for city council to create a rebate program to help with the rebuilding cost.
Everybody who lost their home in the Marshall Fire, none of us should have to pay an extra tax that on average will be $25,000 to return to our homes.
She's not the only one who feels this way. During the public comment portion of Tuesday night's meeting, others saying they can't afford to rebuild with the city's current structure for permitting fees and use tax.
Please take away our permit fees and our use fee. Please help us. We need money. You have a reserve?
The city of Louisville does have a reserve fund that's currently overfunded by millions of dollars. Somaru thinks city councilors could use that money to provide financial support for those who want to rebuild.
You need to make sure that as many of the people who lost their homes come back as possible. And whenever you charge us this extra fee, you disincentivize us from coming back because people can't afford it.
So far, City Councilman Kyle Brown has expressed public support for the residents' concerns, but as for other councilors to join him, that remains to be seen. And tonight's city council meeting adjourned just before we came on the air, and there were no decisions made in regards to concerns from residents. But instead, Louisville Mayor Ashley Stolzman says she wants her city councilors to go back to the drawing board to come up with a few more concrete ideas. Reporting live from Louisville tonight, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
We'll continue to follow up on this issue. Thank you, CB. And Louisville is not the only Colorado city with a use tax. We checked. Cities including Boulder, Denver, and Aurora also have use taxes.
And some sentimental moments earlier today in Louisville as the flag that flew above the post office the day of the fire is raised once again. You can see it still has some charred bits from the flames, but the flag was able to be restored and symbolizes the perseverance of the Boulder County community.
A sobering night ahead as we mark 10 years since the Aurora theater shooting. This is a live look from the 720 Memorial outside the Aurora Municipal Center, where a vigil in memory of the victims will begin at midnight. 12 people were killed and 70 others injured when a gunman opened fire during a midnight screening of The Dark Knight Rises. Among the 12 lives lost was Alex Sullivan. Today, his father, State Representative Tom Sullivan, spoke about his son.
Tomorrow would be the day my son Alex would be turning 37. Tomorrow is the 94th birthday of my mom. She'll be there tonight with my daughter and my wife at the vigil at midnight. I'll be home babysitting my granddaughter, Molly, who's never going to get to meet her Uncle Alex.
And tonight's vigil begins at midnight. It will be streamed online.
Denver 7 has reported extensively on the fentanyl crisis facing Colorado. Tonight, new video showing not only the dangers that the drug puts users in, but also those around them. Today, Wheat Ridge Police released body camera video from Saturday showing officers responding to an overdose involving a driver. Inside the car with the woman, her 6-year-old child, who had to flag down a mail carrier to call 911. The body cam video captured the mother admitting to taking fentanyl.
It was a mistake. I've been doing fentanyl for years. I only did one, so it must have been a bad one.
Police say the mother was taken into custody and the child was placed with family members.
Very sad. We're also getting a look tonight at frightening video showing a violent stabbing on an RTD bus. This happened last month on Colfax. The suspect is seen here in orange talking on his phone when he suddenly pulls out a knife and leaves the screen. Then seconds later, the victim comes into frame with the suspect continuing to stab him until a rider intervenes. The victim, who has autism, suffered several stab wounds but survived. Tonight, a reward is being offered for information leading to the suspect's arrest. You can call Crime Stoppers on the number on your screen.
Denver police tomorrow are set to answer questions over Sunday's officer-involved shooting in Lodo. DPD says it all started after a man identified as Jordan Waddy pointed a gun at officers near 20th and Larimer. Police shot Waddy, but the shooting left 5 others injured, either from being shot by police or from shrapnel from officers' bullets. On Monday, Chief Paul Payson would not elaborate on whether officers followed department policy, but said it would be part of the investigation. This is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at 2:30, and you can watch and stream it on the denverchannel.com and Denver 7 Plus.
What for a long time used to be just a pit stop off I-70 has become a hot spot for visitors. People living in Idaho Springs have seen their small community evolve, with more tourists making their town a vacation destination.
But with growth also comes pains. Denver 7's Russell Haythorne takes us 360 on the challenges facing this growing community.
It's not that Idaho Springs wasn't on the map.
Moved here 27 years ago, best move we ever made.
It's just that its place on the map was never that noticeable.
It's so busy we can't get a parking place to get back in my own office.
You could call it the gateway to the Rocky Mountains, but whatever you say, don't call it that pass-through town where people only stop for pizza.
When they ask us where to eat, it's like you can't go wrong with anything.
We saw it and I said, man, I want to stop and walk and see the town.
It is possibly Metro Denver's favorite daycation, and for those from further away,
Santa Fe, Texas, down by Galveston.
It's a legitimate vacation.
Why not come to this quaint little spot?
We're a destination. That's the big difference.
It's not a pass-through town anymore. It's more of a weekend destination.
We're going 360 on the explosive growth in Idaho Springs, including CDOT's expansion of I-70, out-of-towners who can't get enough of this place, businesses and locals who favor improvements but also recognize the challenges and growing pains. And we start with this sneaker-wearing, blue jeans and tiki shirt-clad mayor, who is as laid back as his attire.
Nice to meet you too. We really enjoy being a bright spot in the economy.
Mayor Chuck Harmon says sales tax revenues are up 7.5%. That's the highest of all time.
We've been promoting the community with bands on weekends, cornhole tournaments on Fridays.
Nowhere is that more recognizable than at shops like Little Bear e-bikes.
We're renting bikes every day now.
Owner Faith Costello-Wolf says they opened Memorial Day taking over an old diner, which speaks to the town's changing tourism, not just a stopover for lunch or dinner.
For 50 years, it was Jiggy's Cafe. It's been a wonderful community. Everyone wants to help out and wants to see the city grow.
And that's our tea grip, guys. They also do rafting tours from here, right outside on Clear Creek.
Take it easy on the rocks.
And just a few blocks down the road, a new trail system just opened up.
The new 400-acre Virginia Canyon mountain bike park right in the middle of our city. Some world-class trails for people of all different ages and abilities.
Minor Street, which is the main street, is booming. So much so, the building the dentist is in is for sale.
I think there's mixed sentiment about it, honestly. Some of the long-term residents get irritated by the parking situation. How long have you had braces?
But Dr. Scott Keys recognizes the need for retail and restaurant space and the likelihood he may have to move to a spot off Minor Street.
I do want to stay in Idaho Springs and in the area, but because of the parking and because of the traffic, the foot traffic, and some of the headaches of being downtown on Minor Street, it's just a better location for, I think, a different business.
Tourists can't get enough.
This is so close to the city, and you come back here and it's quiet and it's peaceful.
Holly Frank has come here for years.
We love that it's so dog friendly, so family friendly.
Others are just now discovering it.
We came 4 years ago with my older son, and we passed by going down, and we didn't get to stop.
It's beautiful. I love the small shops.
Of course, infrastructure is a huge issue. CDOT just opening the westbound express lanes, which offer much needed relief.
They're not sitting in traffic, they're not wasting gas. And it's also helping those who choose to stay in the general purpose lanes as well, because they're not clogging up the free lanes.
There's also a new small bus service in those express lanes called Pegasus, and a massive widening project is launching next year from Floyd Hill to the Veterans Memorial tunnels.
If CDOT handles that large project like they did the express lane project and minimize the impact to folks, I think the locals will breathe a sigh of relief. All right.
But parking remains the town's Achilles heel. A bird's eye view at midday on Monday shows several cars idling and circling like sharks, ready to pounce on the next spot.
Relief is coming.
The mayor and town recently announced a new 250-spot parking garage right behind Tommyknockers, coming soon.
CDOT has committed $4.4 million to the project, or about 50%.
I understand the parking thing. We've definitely had some parking issues over the weekend, but that hasn't deterred us.
For now, with gas prices north of $4.50 a gallon, Idaho Springs is a hot spot, a favorite on a map that has traditionally pegged it as a pass-through. In Idaho Springs,
there's kind of an exciting vibe,
Russell Hathel,
about Idaho Springs.
Denver 7.
Caught on video, a Wheat Ridge couple followed up to their door.
It was obviously shocking.
What police are telling Denver 7 about this concerning encounter.
90s and 100s again today, but a cold front on the way for tomorrow.
Recognized for what they do off the field. The meaningful award the Broncos will receive at tomorrow night's ESPYs right here on Denver 7.